Hi everyone, Coldam here with another Vox Immortalis commentary guide. This is another abnormal video for me, but by request I thought I'd put this together. A number of people have been asking for a guide on how to use the kAuction add-on. kAuction is a custom add-on that I created for managing the loot distribution in our guild raids, and it primarily focuses on loot distribution through a loot council system, where particular players are allowed to vote who deserves an item more than others based on whatever criteria, and then a winner is determined. So it can also do random loot systems, which is very basic, you know, just having everyone that bids roll against each other, but it allows you to do it without having to manually roll. But if you use a DKP type system or other complex system for your loot, then kAuction is not really the solution for you. But it probably is stable enough at this point for public use, so if anyone's interested, hopefully this guide will get you on the way. So this is probably going to be a pretty long guide, and I'll try to be concise, but chances are I'm going to ramble a lot, so I apologize for that. I want to explain, before I get into how to use it, I want to explain basically how kAuction works in the background. And so really it has two types of users. This is all hidden from everyone that uses it, but behind the scenes kAuction uses a client server setup. So very basic, one player, who is the raid leader in all cases, acts as the server, and then everyone else that's in the raid with kAuction is a client. So the reason I set up the background to work this way is because it's more secure and it's easier to program. So when kAuction has a new auction created, or someone bids, someone wins an item, whatever it is, that information is sent from any given client to the server. The server validates it, authenticates the clients, and verifies that, you know, the data should be changed or updated or is good. And if it validates okay, then it sends that new information back out to all the clients. And, you know, of course it does this very quickly, so you really don't notice. But the reason I set up the system this way is because, like I said, it's more secure, so that no one can tamper with the data. It has to be verified on the server end, and so therefore you can't really cheat in any way. You can't, you know, fake auctions, anything like that. So, having said that, for this video I've got two people in my raid. So I'm the raid leader, as you can see here, and I have my druid also in the raid, who is a client. And that's just standard stuff. Any more people you add would be more clients, but they wouldn't know the difference. So now I'm going to explain just how the basic kAuction window works, you know, in day-to-day use. And once I do that, then I'll show you all the detailed options that you can use to configure it a little more deeply. So the first thing to do is, when you're a raid leader, normally you will just create a raid. Your raid will zone in, and when you zone in, you will get a pop-up, if it's a valid raid zone, that looks like this, and asks you if you want to start tracking the raid. And you'll hit yes, and all will be fine and dandy. kAuction will do its thing. However, you can also manually do it, as you saw here. You can just start a raid manually by doing /KAUI to get the options, and then clicking start raid. Now the zones that are qualified as raid zones are found under admin in the zones pull down. So these are all the default raid zones, and you can add more here or delete them. So basically anytime you as a raid leader have kAuction installed and you're in a raid. Once you zone into one of these zones, if you're not currently tracking a raid, it will prompt you as you saw here. So we can pretend I zoned into Ice Crown, got the prompt and hit yes, and now I'm tracking a raid. So now kAuction can actually create auctions and it will keep everything up to date. So I'm going to go ahead and create an auction just to show you how, what it looks like basically. Let's see. Okay. So once an auction is received by anyone, client or server, the kAuction window automatically shows up. And actually I'm going to make it larger so it's more clear in this video what's going on. I'm just going to mess with the scale. So normally it wouldn't be this large, relative to your screen, but I'm just going to make a crude scale adjustment so you can see it. And actually there's kind of a graphical bug, it looks like, with scale, so you'll have to ignore that. But in any event, once the auctions are started to be created automatically, kAuction will open up. This is the main window. You can drag it by holding Alt and left-clicking the title to drag around, and it will stay locked to your screen, so you can't lose it. And then this is showing, one line will show you one auction, so I'm going to go ahead and create another one, and there's a second auction. And this red bar indicates the countdown timer for how long that auction is open. While an auction is open, players can bid on it, on the item, they can change their bid, they can basically interact with it as they normally would. But once the auction closes, then no more bids are accepted and it's sort of locked in. So during any open auction, the first box you'll see on the left here is called the current item box. And basically what this does is, by default, kAuction will find the item that matches the slot for whatever's being auctioned. So in this case it's a ranged item. So it's finding the item I have equipped in my range slot and showing it here. So it's the Dream Hunter's Carbine. And the reason it does this is what you will, as a bidder, what you will pass along basically as the item that you would upgrade if you won this. So by default it tries to just assume you're wearing whatever would be upgraded. Although obviously I wouldn't use a wand as a warrior. But let's go back to the breastplate here and you can see. So my current breastplate, I'm in tanking gear, so my current breastplate is a sanctified Ymir breastplate. And the blade scored carapace that's being auctioned is obviously a DPS item. So chances are this is not really what I would upgrade by getting this item. So if you hover over the current item box on any time an auction is still open, you'll get a pop-up here on the left. And this is just allowing you to select any item of that slot type that you want to select as your current item. Basically, what item do you want to pass along with your bid that you would replace if you won. So for me, it would be the Hellscream's Battle Plate of Triumph. I would replace that as my DPS piece. So I'm going to left click that and select it. And now it's in the current item box for me. So then if I bid, now it's locked in. You can see it turned red and I don't get a pop-up anymore. So that is considered locked in as my current item. The only way I can change it is if I right click to get the bid pop-up and select no bid, which cancels the bid I had. And now it's not red anymore and I can change to a different current item if I want. I can also left click the current item and that will just take it out completely. So this is in cases where maybe you don't have an item, say this is an off-spec piece and you don't even have a breastplate. So you can just have it empty if you wish.